Welcome back to another episode of the Dat Fitness Business Podcast. Tom Blackman with Dan Smith. Hello, Dan.
Hello. Hello, Tom.
How are you today? Whiteboard I see is full of new guru stuff.
Guru bits. It's good. I'm good today, actually. Yeah, all good. No issues. It's actually not been added to for a while, to be fair. More reminders for me, so I don't forget certain things.
Have you done your morning affirmation today?
Not today. No, sorry.
I was just shouting myself. I did have an ice bath this morning, but I went out in the cold to walk to the gym, which was, I think that's my sort of length of time doing cold stuff.
That's it, isn't it? It's the same thing.
Same thing, but less moist. It's wet.
Less things you have to go through, isn't it? Right?
Doesn't require a towel or clean up afterwards.
Yeah, which ties into today's podcast quite nicely. Right.
Really?
Doesn't it? Think about it.
I suppose so, yeah.
Because you have to get undressed, get in the wet, then you have to get out of the wet, dry yourself, whereas you just had to walk. And you were there.
Is that what we're talking about today, the podcast? Getting wet.
Yeah, less is more.
So I always talk about what we're doing today. Why don't you lead us into it? I'm intrigued now.
About how you can maximize your ice bath efficiency in the mornings. Not really. We're going to talk about how you can, how less is more in essence.
Yes.
But when I say that, I mean in terms of adding more stuff because you feel like you need to add stuff to the business, or adding more things because you want to provide more value. And I know that might sound crazy because more value is obviously good, right? But in this instance, we're going to explain why potentially you could save yourself time, and also sometimes by adding more, you can also add more overwhelm, and that has the opposite effect. Is that what we're going to cover?
Yeah, God, you had me worried then when you just mentioned ice baths. I was like, I'm not prepared for this. But yeah, exactly. So, because obviously we've been coaches, I've been coaching nearly 20 years now. And you've been a coach, hopefully not that long. Because you are younger now. Yeah, because I'm 43 now. I was 23-ish when I left university, and I had a job when I came out of university, and but I also on the side was doing helping people with bodybuilding, and this was before all the stuff around Facebook and everything else. So this was like local area people I knew, and I used to write them plans and stuff. So I've been a coach for almost 20 years. Yeah.
Jeez. Did you have a hard paper out?
Did I have a hard paper out? I'm 43. Yeah, I know I don't look at it. I know the new haircut has sort of taken the years off me, but yeah, I am actually 43.
I can't believe it.
I know, it's like this is how I think old people are. You think about, how old are old people? 43. Oh, well, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm old.
I don't.
And as Jacob keeps reminding me, I'm not as old as mummy, but I'm still very old. Okay. Thanks very much, Jacob.
But that's a positive though, isn't it?
Yeah. it's like here's a slap and a handshake.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the tangent, which we always go on. So in all that time, I mean, obviously you've been coached a long time. I've been coached a long time. So we have done lots of different things with our clients and made some mistakes, and obviously learned from those mistakes. And one of those mistakes, which I've made, correct me if I'm wrong, you probably made, is that we try and deliver too much to our client. Because there is this thing now, isn't there, about over-delivering. Make sure you over-deliver to your clients. Promise less, deliver more. And I get all that. I get that, I got a bit more than what I was expecting. Thanks very much, as in the client saying that. But also, it's not, you don't want to be going like, look at all this stuff that I've got to do. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Now I'm feeling like I made a mistake joining your coaching because there's all these things to do. And I think that's where coaches they want to over-deliver, but also they got this thing about, I've got to show that I'm a good coach. I've got to show that I'm the best coach. So all these other things as well, I'm going to throw in. And then that is then not over-delivering, but overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. I think over delivery on things is different, isn't it? Like how much more stuff can I put into this? How many more things can I create to give someone? I'm not saying that like you shouldn't do things like that, but it's almost like how can you over deliver in terms of caring? How do you over deliver in terms of the support that you give? And maybe those things they apply themselves to that as well, because they might help you support. But sometimes I think, and I've definitely, like you just said, I've been guilty in the past of just going, well, we need that because that's extra, like extra stuff, extra things that we can give to people. I know we mentioned this before, like the recipe books or resources. And again, I don't want to downplay any of that, but sometimes, I mean, I looked at our resources last week. We must have over 200 different resources in there, and I don't think anyone really cares. Genuinely.
No, and do you know the because I know at the moment there's a big push by people to have their own communities like off Facebook. So I think you have Circle, is that right, for your?
So, yeah, we used to have Circle and we got rid of it.
What do you do now then? Because I know you had that for a while. What do you do now?
Yeah, Facebook, back in Facebook, because Facebook works. Like everyone gets Facebook and everyone knows what it is.
Do you know what? I don't want to say I told you so.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, okay. Again, it's another thing. I've had like Kajabi in the past, and I've had with Thrivecart, which is what I use for my payment system. They have something called Learn Plus, which is like Kajabi. So if someone signs up, you can have a course on it. And there's a big thing about courses, isn't there? Deliver a course, deliver all these resources. But you know the statistics for people actually completing online courses? Do you know what the figure for that is?
No, I'm going to guess.
I'll give you a clue.
10%.
I'll give you a clue. It's the same amount of people that respond to cold DMs.
No. Is it really? I don't know. 1%.
Less than 1%.
Is it?
Yeah. So all these people pushing, set your online course up. What they don't tell you is the completion rate for that is less than 1%. And basically it's all about the sales process, because people need to go on and do the stuff. They need to find time in their own time to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that I don't want to get, busy professionals, but everybody is very busy, aren't they? I don't know anybody. Okay, I know a few millionaires who do have a lot of free time, but they're always working as well. I don't know anybody who I can say, hey, have you got like an hour a day to go and watch an online video and then implement the stuff? Have you got like a full hour a day you can do that? And most people say no.
Yeah. It's the implementation, isn't it? So I'm not, like I said before, I'm not disregarding stuff that you shouldn't not create things that are useful for your clients, but they should be created with a purpose and then used in a certain way that you can actually go, okay, this is for this reason. Here's something you can do and action it. Maybe we can then set a time to review that and then look at what happened with it and talk about it. If it's just stuff for the sake of having stuff, it becomes just this place where there's loads of things and no one looks at it.
Well, I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and we were having this discussion because obviously in my Facebook group, I had it in build when I was doing physique coaching, and I've got it for the business coaching as well. Same as you, I've got a Facebook group and I've got videos in there, which I suppose you could say is like a course. But the way I work it is, here's videos that address a specific problem. And when I'm working with a client, I'll say, you need to go and watch this video. So we have a chat and say, go and watch this video. It'll show you how to do this thing we're discussing, rather than sitting with them for a one-to-one call for an hour, going through that exact same thing. And I think that, for me anyway, that has worked a lot better than saying to people, you've got to watch all these videos and do them, because they won't do that, because there's no purpose to why they're watching. I know the big purpose is to build business, but do you know what I mean? It's like, you've got to watch these 30 videos, okay, and do stuff. That's a lot of overwhelm, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking of that statistic then and applying it to myself, because that's definitely true. Because I've invested in a lot of courses and never completed a whole course. I don't think I've watched.
No.
I've taken bits, or I've like gone through sections and then applied whatever is applied to me at that time, because some of the stuff's not applicable. So yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I think the only one that I've actually completed, as in fully completed, was the ISSN one, and that was because I had to do the test to get a qualification, do the coursework. So it was like university stuff where I had to do all these things. So I had to watch the video, then make the notes and everything else, and that was to get the qualification. That's the only time I've ever completed an online course where you have to do it, otherwise you don't get the qualification.
Yeah, I discounted those ones, like the ones where you get a qualification at the end. Because if it's just stuff like, I invested in one to help you like build an online business, or like a copywriting course or something like that, then I'll still just pick the elements. Like one I bought 3 or 4 weeks ago now, which was about it was more based around like the flows and ManyChat and that, because I was really interested in that at the time. But still, I haven't gone through the whole. I just used the bits that I need to know, and I'm like, right, cool. Yeah,
I think. Well, I do that exact same thing. I downloaded I bought a course. It was about financial management and trading and a few of the brilliant course. But the trading stuff, the higher trading stuff, haven't even looked at yet, because where I'm at is not where I want to be doing the trading thing. At the moment, I'm still at the investing sort of stage. But there's a whole load of stuff in it which is relevant to my businesses, and it's really helped with me on the gym during lockdown and a few other things, because of how it helped you structure your finances. So, and I've taken all those lessons and put it into my personal life as well, and got a really good, I think anyway, good result from it, because I now don't like, oh shit, where am I going to find the money for that from? That sort of situation.
Yeah.
And the gym financially is in a better place because of the plans we put in place. But I haven't looked at there's a lot of stuff about sort of like life management and stuff like that. Haven't looked at that really, because that wasn't my interest. So, but if I'd done it all the way through, I wouldn't have got the same value, because I wouldn't have been interested in some of those bits if I hadn't skipped to the bits that I needed to do.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's applying the bits, but then a lot of people need the direction, don't they, as well? So they need to know, called this bit, go and look at that. Like, here's something you need to go and implement as well. Let me know how you get on, because people aren't really paying for the information on it; they're paying for the actions and the implementation off the back of it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the message here, maybe what we're trying to get to is have stuff in your. If you have these things like videos and everything else, make sure there's some direction as to how you're going to direct your clients to use that. Otherwise, it's just a load of noise, which, I mean, they're coming to you for help. So if they don't know where to go, and it's like, oh, here's another hour-long video. Okay, and I've got to do some work after it. That's a heavy investment of their time, isn't it? Especially when they've got all these other things to be doing.
Yeah. I get this a lot with coaches who want to add all these things in, or they go, I need to look at my onboarding process. I need to add this other thing into my onboarding process. And I always push back is, how about we don't add something else into the onboarding process, and you just maybe like manually touch base with that person, or you just reach out to them to see how they're getting on with. I guarantee that's going to have more impact than you just adding this other thing in that they're going to go, oh my God, it's another thing I've got to look at. They're never going to look at it anyway. They've already got all this other stuff you've sent them. Just tell them the things they need to do right there and then to start working on their goals, the things they want to achieve. And that's going to have the biggest impact, rather than just, here's some more stuff. Just get them to start working on the thing straight away. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And the thing in this again comes from the fact that we want our clients to have really good results. And so we've got to do all these things because this is what's going to get you the result. But the client coming on board, let's say talk about like a fat loss client, and they don't know anything about nutrition. They don't know anything about, they haven't even been training for a couple of years or whatever. And they come on board, and all of a sudden you're like, right, here's your macros, and here's how to do MyFitnessPal, and blah, 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 blah. And right, and then you got to go to the gym, and here's your WOD for the day, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's just, you think, well, where do I start with this? And I think that's the issue, is that as coaches, we're like, yeah, to get these results, this is all the stuff you need to do. And for us, because we're already up here, that's quite easy for us to do. But the guys down here, imagine that as like a staircase. They've got to get their leg up to their head, and you know that meme where the guy's like going 5 different stairs. That one.
Skip all that out.
Yeah, skip all that stuff, just straight to the top. It's like that, isn't it? It's like, well, you've got to go here, and it's all like, getting the frog and chucking him into a bottle of boiling water. Like, he's going to jump out, isn't he? Yeah, that sort of thing. But if you boil it up gradually, it's okay. You got a nice cooked frog then.
Well, that's I get it though. But I changed my mind on this recently. Well, not recently, but I've changed my mind on it over time, from having this perfect onboarding system that would deliver stuff on certain days and it would cover all aspects of things that people need to know about. And I've gone kind of full circle back to they've approached you for a specific reason. This is what you want to help them with. So here's the things you need to do right now to start doing that. And if something comes up, because ultimately I'm hoping that most people listening to this and working with clients will be, coaches at heart, and they're going to go, right, cool. So this week, the first week's happened. What's gone on? Then they're going to go, right, we probably need to look at maybe sleep here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some information about sleep, and I'm going to speak to that person around it. And then they tailor the whole experience around that person, which is what a lot of coaches preach, right? Individualized, personalized, one-to-one bespoke service is not your onboarding process. It's not how many resources you've got. It's these things that you can do in reaction to what's happening in front of you. That's the bespoke service that you preach, right?
I think you've touched on a really key point there, is that unless you're selling a big group program, a lot of the coaches I work with, and I think you were like one-to-one people. So when you are saying about this is a one-to-one program, but like you said before, you've got this very specific onboarding email sequence that hits them with day 2 this, day 3 this, day 4 that. What if that person is working away for 3 or 4 days? So they come back to sort of like 5 emails or 3 emails or whatever to be able to do. That's not a bespoke one-to-one thing, is it? It's not servicing their needs, as you said.
No. You could always, tell them where they can find this stuff, and in your initial, because at the moment we send them a document. So the document's got everything they need in it, but that's done, right at the beginning. So they can look at it. They probably won't look at it, to be honest, at the time, but then they've always got it, and then we'll always be able to find that. So they can always refer back to it. And then, but they'll know instantly like what stuff they need to do right now, so they can get on with that. And then, later on, if they're like, oh, I'd like to go and maybe look at something, oh, cool, I can pull that document, that one single place that I can go to, rather than I've got to search for that 3rd email that talked about how to get more steps or something.
Yeah. We, I in the Facebook group, I send an email out at the beginning with I think it's like 2 things or maybe 3 things to do max. I think one's to join the Facebook group. I think the second is to get the diet plan. This is when I was doing, physique coaching. And then the third was to book their first call. So the jobs they had to do in the first email was very, very small. Join a Facebook group, that's a click, isn't it? They had to fill in a form for the diet, which they would get in 7 days. Okay, that takes 5 minutes, and then book the call. So it's not a heavy investment of their time. And the other thing I always thought about, I used to, and I still do with my business clients, is treat it like, did you go to university?
No.
You didn't? Okay, fine. No. Sorry. Peasants. But I did. I just wasted 4 years of my life getting pissed. And then got a qualification at the end, which I did use for the rest of my life.
See? Exactly. Who's the fool?
So, exactly. But when you go to university, you have what's called Freshers Week. And sometimes it's 2 weeks. And in all that time, you don't do any learning. There's no classes. It's all about learning where stuff is in the campus and building communities and joining groups, that sort of thing. So you're in what's the word?
Indoctrinated.
Yeah. Indoctrinated. Yeah. you become part of the community, so you know where everything is. So that when you actually start, and I always treat my coaching onboarding like that. The first week to 2 weeks is like freshers week. So in my freshers, I had that you had like a dedicated person who you could go to talk to if there was anything you needed. And that's sort of how I see it, is like when they're coming on board in the first 2 weeks, like WhatsApping, because I use WhatsApp a lot for my clients. So that'll be almost every day. Oh, have you done this? Do you understand this? That sort of thing. Just conversational stuff. What is there any problems you're encountering? That sort of thing. No pressure to do stuff, but to make sure they're settled in. Have you found the workouts okay? This sort of thing. And I could do that with an email. I could automate the email, but it's not personal, is it? It's not. It's not that part of one-to-one coaching, which I think, again, people in their quest and gurus in their quest to automate everything, let's work for yourself. You're actually then diminishing that personal element of the process.
Yeah. I think there's place for some of those processes there, like systems you can use to help you with that. But then ultimately, like you mentioned at the start, I'm hoping there's more input and contact from you as a human. And then as that goes on, you're probably going to find that relationship will find its own kind of pattern in terms of how you interact with that person. But yeah, we have our training app. So they can feedback on certain sessions, and then that will then ping up. And so we can actually like go in and we can actually respond to their comments, or we can respond to their feedback. And that's something I used to do religiously. I would reply to everyone's stuff like daily on there. And I'm not working with as many people now, but that's something that was really important, because especially at the start, you could just go in there and it would ping up on the only notifications I'd ever have on was that. It was a bit of a killer as well, because I have hundreds of these like going off. I mean, don't know if I'd advise it, but having something that there's a system there to support the ability to feedback, and then you can then go in and add the human element to it. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, we you use Trainerize?
Train Heroic.
Train Heroic. Yeah, I think they got that thing on PT Distinction, which is what I use. But because we've got that for the gym as well, I turn those things off, because like it was just like endless pings. So now I would say to clients, when you go to the gym, report back on WhatsApp, and because I just find everything's easier for me to do from what I've got a work phone, so I know if I'm picking up that phone, and all the notifications are work related, so I can put it down and not worry about, oh, I'm missing a personal thing, say like Jacob or something like that. So big tip there: have a work phone. If you've got WhatsApp for business, don't allow people to contact your personal phone. But I used to think, right, I'll spend like 10, 20 minutes responding to client messages. And I used to do that like a couple of times a day. Like if I'm having food or whatever, okay, just reply to people. And if they need any help, I could make a note to do something later on. But again, it's that, we talk about simplifying down processes, because I'm not sure how you, like, I've got ministry page, I've got ministry Instagram, my obviously my build business, all that sort of stuff. I've got about 6 or 7 different places where people can message me. Yeah. And then I don't want other places like training apps and stuff like that, which is why I try and turn as many of those things off as possible. And for me, simplifying and getting better things for clients is I have a business WhatsApp and a business phone, which costs me like 20 quid a month. And then everything, even messages from the gym, go there. And it's just easy for me to, okay, there might be like 50 messages to reply to, but I can do all those in the space of 10, 20 minutes and then have solved that issue for that time period without having to log on to all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. It's definitely something I'm leaning more towards. I think I'm going to try it out, that whole separate phone idea.
It is such a godsend, because as well, you've got a child now, so you have important things that were going to be notified to you on your phone. You don't want that. You don't want it to ping and go, oh, I wonder if there's something wrong. Oh, it's a client. Like 12 o'clock at night, say if you're away and your missus at home with the baby and you get a message, ping, oh no, it's something wrong. And it's a client pinging you their progress picture. because they live in Australia or something. You don't want that.
Yeah. I think it comes with, there's obviously pros to that as well. I think you could do that without the phone, but I think having there's separation there. You still have to use them separately, right? Because part of me would just then end up with two phones, and I'll be like, I've got two phones now, and I would have two phones on me at all times.
I've got two phones, and that's my business phone, which is I've got an iPhone 8. It's very cheap. I only use it for calling and for WhatsApp. That's it. I have got internet and stuff on it, but I only use it so that I can call clients or message them. And that phone links to my computer. So if I'm doing stuff, I can then drag files over. Or if I'm on a one-to-one call, I can drag a file over while we're on a one-to-one call and share it with them.
Yeah.
So it works very well that way. And then my personal phone, I know if anybody calls this phone, it's either a friend or it's like Jacob's school or something like that. So I know that that's a personal, and it separates my work life very easily. So my work phone, I put on charge at like 9 o'clock at night, and I don't look at it until 8 o'clock in the morning. And all my clients know that they can WhatsApp me, but I will not pick up that message until 8 o'clock my time. And I'm very clear. I go on holiday. You can message me on holiday. No guarantee I'm going to respond until I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people who says, don't message me, I'm on holiday. Because if a client has a real emergency, then I want to be that person, say, do you know what? If it takes 2 minutes, I'm happy to have a quick call just to sort things out.
Yeah.
But I don't want people messaging me while I'm on holiday, while I'm on the weekend with my son. I don't want that. And clients understand that. And the amount of people I've worked with who have now got a work phone because of that, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it a few times, and I think Ella brought it up at one of our things as well. And yeah, that was always stuck in my head. I've got another phone here, just don't use it.
Drug dealer phone.
Pointless. Yeah, I've got a question for you. But it came into my head about like less is more, and this always comes up with coaches. And the question is around like managing communities and things. And like, so say if you host it, you've got a client WhatsApp group, you've got a client Facebook group, or wherever you host them, right? And this question comes up. It's like, no one interacts in this group, no one interacts in the client group, no one's there. So what are your thoughts on that in terms of, do you spend more time, energy trying to then make this a thing and make it more interactive and get people speaking and interacting in there? Or are you more of the mindset of like, if people are happy, then like they're happy, right? That's the main thing. And they're moving towards what they need to do. So we're trying to force a community on them.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think that becomes down to, are people going to get more value from interacting in that group?
Yeah.
So I have a Facebook group for my clients. They're all one-to-one business clients. And the Facebook group has the people on my team as well. So my graphic designer, my VA, all those people who are in it, people who help with behind the scenes stuff. And so generally the Facebook group for my paid clients is a very quiet place. If I put a new training up, I'll post it and say, look, there's a new training here. Go and watch it. It's about this. If this is relevant to you, go and watch this. Here's a new training to watch. And if someone joins and they ask a question about, I don't know, I need some graphics. I don't know how to do this. I'll tag my graphics guy and say, John, can you help this guy out? Because he needs some help with graphics. So it's a very easy place to, and a discussion might start there, you see. So I think you don't want to force it. Like, I've done Facebook groups in the past where I've been like, Monday, okay, everybody share your wins for the weekend and stuff like that. And although that's good to see, the problem I found with that, and I've been in groups where this has happened, where if you're not doing so well and everyone goes, oh yeah, let everyone share your wins for the weekend. And someone goes, yeah, I just closed a £50,000 deal. Oh, I just signed up 100 clients and blah, 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 blah. All these people. Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, pat on the back and everything else. And the reason why that's done is so the people running the group can get the quotes to show on their Facebook to increase more clients. So I get the reason that's being done. And I'm not disagreeing with it because it's something I've done. But
it's just to celebrate wins.
Just to celebrate, yeah, because no one's going to know, apart from everybody in the world when you post it. The people who aren't doing so well, and the people who are struggling, the people who aren't signing 100 clients, the people who aren't closing £50,000 deals, they're going to see that stuff and think, first of all, well, how come all these people are doing so well and I'm not? I must be doing something wrong. And then they start to resent being in the group because everyone's posting about wins and they're not getting the wins. And they feel as though they can't ask for help because people are like, well, are you doing the things? Because if you aren't, that's why you're not winning. And I've heard this from clients who come to work with me. They've been in these big groups where they've got these big people closing all these deals and signing these customers and everything else. And they've been said, look, I could do with a little help here because I'm not doing all this stuff. And do you know what the response has been? Believe in yourself, send more DMs.
Standard.
Believe in yourself, send more. Okay, I do believe in myself as a good coach. I don't think I can send any more DMs without breaking my thumb. Is there something else that I'm not doing? No, that's it, because that's all we teach. Go and watch this video, it's an hour long. And then they leave because they're not getting the help. And, I'm not saying I'm the best coach in the world. Come to me, we have a little chat. Okay, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing this? And I'm sure you've had this as well. People come from these big groups, come in, Dan, can you give me some help? Yeah. Do these things. All of a sudden they're getting customers in because they've had that little bit of one-to-one touch. And this is why I'm not a fan of these massive, massive group intakes. I realize why they're there and I do see the value in them, but I've gotten so much more benefit from very small group stuff or one-to-one stuff than I have with joining massive, massive groups. That's just my personal experience.
Yeah. So in terms of then how you would, I suppose in terms of that question though, it's more a case of, for me anyway, I would be consistently asking, not all the time, but like have a process where I'm asking are people like, in terms of like having that there, do they want anything else? Is there anything else we can add to it? Or is there anything else you'd want this to be used for? Because I think that's important to gather that feedback.
Yeah.
Whereas if you find that you're trying to force something on these people, they might be completely happy. They're like, I'm happy, you're helping me out, I'm getting my stuff done, I'm all good. And you're like, no one's interacting in the WhatsApp group. It doesn't matter. Like, if everyone's happy, it's fine. It's only then you're positioning your own success because no one's interacting in the WhatsApp group. You feel like a failure because someone else has got this thriving community. It's like,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
I think the other, sorry, go on.
No, is it?
Okay, so I think the other thing there is it does depend on the type of client you get in because some people love chatting on WhatsApp, and I'm not sure how you think about this. If someone adds me to a WhatsApp group, I mute it because I don't want my phone beeping, and it's always on my work phone as well. I'm not going to come on personal because I don't want my phone beeping every 5 minutes with like random people engaging. And I don't know if you've been in a WhatsApp group of more than 10 people, you just can't follow that. It's not the same as a Facebook. Like Facebook's a little easier to follow discussions.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of WhatsApp groups for coaching in that sense. I don't mind broadcast groups where you have a load of people and you can broadcast a message because then the responses that come back are their one-to-one responses. I use that for my check-ins.
Yeah.
But I think trying to follow those discussions is very difficult, especially if it's a lively group. And while you're trying to catch up with like a day's worth of comments, you've then got to go bidding, 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 bidding. So you've got more stuff to catch up with. It becomes like a bit of a time sap, and you can't really, and I think it puts a lot of people off. But some people love that sort of stuff. So it does depend on which clients you've got. Have you got a load of clients who love having a good chat like that? And if so, have a group. Like you said, ask them, would a WhatsApp group be beneficial to you? Would you like to have a WhatsApp group? Or would a Facebook group be more beneficial?
Yeah.
I think it does depend on the people you work with.
People make it. Over the years, I've had different places and it's always been the people in that group, because over time you have people come, people leave, but you can always see the same similar types of people who are like, they're the ones who like can generate interaction in a group. Like it's a certain type of person, right? And I'm not a fan of, like, if someone like similar, if someone invites me in and they're like, you're in the Facebook group, and I'm like, cool, I'll be in there, but I probably won't. Yeah, we won't get involved much with that stuff.
Yeah.
WhatsApp group there. I mean, I'm in one now that is just every day there must be 50, 60 like notifications come through, but it's always just muted now. And I don't even go and look at it, because unless I need to go, I'm like,
yeah,
what am I going to look at it for? But we do this with ours, with our Slack channel, because I'm aware that's quite busy. So what I do now is have the weekly review comes out, and then what I do is I just type up, I do a manual review of the week. So then I go through, okay, if key things that have happened that week. So here's a new input on this. There's a training here. We had this live call. Here's a document, right? And I'll put it in like a little update, and then I'll put that in there in case people do miss stuff. And then it's like or maybe they just want to check the review out and go, oh, cool, these are the important things to look at. I think that's been adapted over time though. We didn't used to do that, because then I got feedback. People were like, oh, I don't see this, or I missed this, I don't get the email. I'm like, oh, cool, well, let's change something about that.
I think having a good, like you said there, like a summary of the weekly activity is good if you've got a really busy group. And then it's almost like bullet pointing the relevant stuff. So you can say, oh, this person did this person built this lead magnet. Like here's a new training we uploaded. And if you've got the links there, people can skim it and go, right, okay, great, I'll just click on that because that's the thing I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing, especially if you've got like a really busy discussion channel. But yeah, I mean, I think if I was going to have a group in anywhere, it would have to be a Facebook group, because it's a lot easier for me to skim through and see the comments than it is on a WhatsApp chat. And also a WhatsApp chat, because it pings on your phone, whereas I can turn Facebook notifications off and I can choose when I go in. And I know you can turn WhatsApp notifications off, but if you do that, then you turn off all your WhatsApp notifications. So you've got to then mute the channel, which is essentially what I do if I'm in a big WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
But then what happens is you look at it and you see 107 replies. And it's like, okay, won't look at that. Because you just know it's going to be a gargantuan amount of messages. A lot of it, it's just going to be, because WhatsApp's easy as chat, isn't it? Whereas Facebook is more like people will write a bit more.
Yeah.
So you get like 5 or 6 things where people are just going smiley face, thumbs up, smiley face, thumbs up. That's just my opinion. I don't, between the gym and coaching and Jacob and trying to have a personal life, I don't have time to be commenting on a massive WhatsApp group chat.
No, I agree.
And if you ever open a gym, which I advise you don't, then you'll you sort of get the thing about that everybody wants a piece of you every time of the day, and there's a lot of people I talk to every day. I'm not saying I don't like talking to people, but that's the reason I have a work phone.
Avoiding people.
Avoiding overwhelm from people who, because I get probably 30 emails a day, which are just dog shit, plus the other ones which actually are okay. Similar with the fitness business, with my coaching business, and then obviously all the messages and DMs from people wanting to do hormozy captions. There's a lot to manage. I'm not saying that my life is more complex than other people's, whatever, claiming some medal or something. But the way I've chosen to manage that is to reduce the amount of things I join and the things I say yes to. My default answer is no. Can you do this? No. Have you got time for it? No. a lot of time, for example, when one of my staff has an idea about what to do at the gym, say, "Oh, Tom, I really think this would be a good idea." And I was, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but bring me a solution, not a problem." So bring me something you want to do and you planned it all out, and then we can look at it together and maybe tweak it a little bit and then implement it or not implement it.
Yeah.
Someone coming to me saying, "I think this is a good idea." Okay. Bring me something that is a good idea, not that you think is a good idea, and we can look at it that way.
Because
that's sorry, go on.
Positioning the idea, but I don't really want to get involved with this. I'd like you to take it all on and do all the work, and then see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, there is an element of that. When you've got a load of staff under you, and I'm sure you've got this because you've got like people who work with you, for you, whatever. You can't micromanage everything. And one of my biggest things after my heart attack, and actually before that, what I was implementing before that, was that I wanted to be less involved in the trenches stuff, which I was right at the beginning when I opened the gym, because it was, I'm there all day, every day, making the gym work. Now it works, and we're building on what's there. I don't need to be checking people's whatever one job they've done. We have systems and I have managers to do that. So I don't want to be involved in all these little things. And that's why I say to staff, managers, bring me something you want to do. I'll happily give you the money for it. But just bring me a completed thing, and then how you're going to do it and everything else. And absolutely, I'll give you the money for it, and we'll do it. But there's a really good story about this. I don't know if you've heard it. It was President Kissinger, who was president of the United States. He had, I think he was president, or was he president? Well, so he was like a Secretary of State or something. Anyway, he might have been president. I don't know American history that well. But the story goes was that there was this massive bill that they were trying to implement, and the guy, his like undersecretary, brought it in on the desk, like, bill this big. And he goes, "Oh, this is for you to look at. This is the work I've done. This is for you to look at. What do you think?" And and the story is, he looks at it and goes, the guy goes out, 10 minutes later, calls him in, have another look at this, have another look at it. And that's all he said. So the guy had to pick it up, go out, come back. And he did this 3 times. Go and have another look at that. Yeah, just have another look at it. And when he come back the 3rd time, and he goes, have another look at it. And he goes, "Sir, I've done everything. I've refined it. I've done everything. There's nothing else I can do to make this better." And he goes, "Okay, let's do it then." He didn't even look at it because he trusted his manager to do the job. Yeah. But the problem was his managers weren't confident in themselves to do the job. They thought they had to be checked all the time. And when I heard that story, I was like, that is brilliant. And that's how I operate my management now. Like, when my managers come to me, "Oh, Tom, what do you think about this?" I said, "Well, what do you think about it? You've been here 5 years. What do you think?" "Well, I think that's bullshit." "Okay, go back and tell them it's bullshit." This is what we had with BT recently. "Go back and tell them it's bullshit." "Okay." So they go back and they sort the problem out. Because my managers are good at their job. They don't need me to oversee everything they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that as well. Yeah, definitely some of the people we work with is similar. Like I just rather than then asking each time the question or confirm, I'm like, that for me, that's an extra thing. That's an extra step. So I'm giving you full trust, and I completely. That's why you're here. That's why I want to work with you. So full trust and confidence in what your decision would be, or how you go about this process. So just go and do that.
Yeah, and it's a sign of a good manager to do that, because managers don't need to micromanage everything. Yeah, but they need to be confident, and their staff need to be confident in themselves. Yeah. But you only get that confidence by empowering them to do something and believing in them. And that's where a lot of managers, I see so many people like stressed right out because they're trying to micromanage every little thing in their business. I think, why'd you employ these people? Just save yourself 10 grand, do it yourself. "Oh, but I won't have the time to do it." But you're doing it already.
That's it.
Yeah. Cool. I think we might have gone off tangent a little bit, but there's some good stuff there. Yeah. Anything we missed?
No, I think we got it covered, point across, went off on some tangents, so it's all cool.
As always, excellent. Okay, Dan, thanks as always, for dropping knowledge bombs with the general region of the podcast. And we will be back next week or the week after, or whenever we actually get a podcast out, and have some more business of fitness for people listening and watching.
Yes. Bye.
See you next time.